What's going on, everybody? This is CG of CG Computers and Electronics. Today's video presentation is probably one of the first since I've uploaded before the promo and the introduction. And I want to talk about and just summarize a video I did about maybe a couple years ago on the C. Gilliard channel. And that video, I talked about the importance of wiping your data when you put your computer out for the garbage. But I want to get a little bit more detail about that video to kind of give you background as to why I did it. The reason why I did that video is because I found the computer in the trash. I didn't really expect much from it. I didn't really expect a hard drive to be in it, and if there was one, I expected not to work. But lo and behold, when I changed the power supply in that video, if you watched it, you saw how easy it was for me to get into that Windows computer. It was a Windows 7 machine, Windows Home Premium, I believe. It had a standard HP basic setup with all their bloatware and all the good stuff, but it had data on it, personal confidential data. And because I had a password reset disk, which is a command-based program that I found on the internet to help me reset passwords, and I was able to get access to the machine with no difficulty. It's a useful tool when you're out in the field and the person forgets their password for their computer and they need to log in. You will use a password reset disk. Sometimes in a corporate environment you may could use it depending on your policies and procedures. As technicians, you need to check on that before you use such third-party software, because they may have their own specific tools and trades and tricks that they may use to get into the computers that you work in a corporate environment. And there's a lot of course, compliance and security concerns as well. But I just made the video just to show how simple it was for me to get into that person's computer without much hacking skills and experience. I'm not much of a hacker. I'm not even trying to claim to be a hacker, but I just illustrated the point how simple it was to get inside of a person's computer. Now, before that, I want to talk about, before you dispose your computer out on the curb, you need to be familiar and familiarize yourself with your local town, state, and city ordinance regarding e-waste. It's very important that you familiarize yourself with that, because, as you know, these computers are built. Some have the, I guess they call it ROSCH, or whatever the term is. It's used for that the computer component, like say memory, the motherboard is ROSCH compliant, which means they can be processed in a landfill, which I don't recommend dumping stuff like that into a landfill per se, because it doesn't decompose, especially some of the lead solder that's very toxic and can cause environmental problems and health problems for human beings, for human consumption, because of the vapors and the toxic fume and gases and such when you put heat towards a soldered joint. I know, because I work with a lot of electronics and I do a lot of soldering, and let me tell you something, it's very toxic, and it's not good to inhale those chemicals and those fumes for a long period of time, because it could mess up your head and cloud up your judgment and cause other sorts of problems down the road. So yes, folks, you got to be safe and got to be careful when you're using soldering equipment. Not only you don't burn yourself, but you don't inhale the toxic fumes, because the way solder works is that when you apply heat to the core, it will melt, and then if it's lead acid based, the fumes can escape and hit your nostrils. It can be very toxic. So like I said, folks, wear a gas mask or some kind of breathing apparatus so you don't inhale the toxic fumes. Enough with that. The reason why a lot of these cities and towns, I know Jersey, they have such ordinance, but it's not really widely enforced, because when I go outside all the time, I see a lot of TV sets, a lot of that particular day I found that computer. But even now, even a couple years of making this video, I still find the junk out there. And if it's worthy of me, taking it for free, because it's out on the curb, it's legally, anybody can take it and do what they want with it. I just wish that a lot of towns had these ordinances in place where they can bring their, let's say, their old television that they don't want, they can't really get rid of, or their old computer that they don't want, they can get rid of for free, and it could be properly disposed of by the local city, I guess Department of Public Works, DPW for short, or some kind of county or state area where people at any time can drop their equipment off for electronics disposal, which not many towns and counties in New Jersey have that program. Although it is law, it is on the books, but there's really not a wider initiative to safely dispose of toxic equipment such as computers and electronics. And that was pretty much the whole premise of me doing that video, and also to expose that how easy it is to gain access to personal information. That's why, folks, if you have a computer that you're looking to get rid of, or you're looking to sell on the internet, on eBay, you need to check yourself with the policies and procedures in place on sites like eBay to make sure you're in compliance, because you don't want to expose yourself or your personal information to a stranger who may not value and safeguard it. It's like valuing your money to a perfect stranger on the street that you just met a few minutes ago. Would you value that? I don't think so. It's the same principle when it comes to your data. Think of data as money and jewelry, something that you value and hold true, even if it's just junk that you consider junk, but to a hacker, they don't care. They consider that personal information. I got your name and all that. Boom, I'm ready to rock and roll. What else I want to say in regards to that? Electronics and recycling. Oh yeah, back to properly disposing or giving away your computer or selling it on sites like eBay. Make sure you're within compliance. Make sure before you wipe your data off of the computer, make sure you back it up to some place where you can easily retrieve it later, whether it be a CD, DVD, or FreeNAS box, or server, or external hard drive, because that's important. So in case you need to access the data at a later point, you would say, oh darn, I shouldn't have wiped that computer down, I shouldn't have gave it away, I had some pictures in some documents I need to get over. Well, it's too late, because most likely if you donate it to Goodwill, they probably might resell it. If you sell it online on eBay, you're like, oh geez, I forgot to get the pictures off. Well, too late now. Most likely the person will purchase your old computer. Either they did the smart thing to do, which is to wipe the data off and then put whatever flavor operating system on your old or donated computer, and that's pretty much it on that note. But yeah, make sure you have a backup. Use like programs such as DBAN to wipe your drive, or there's others online that you can use, that you can purchase, but DBAN is probably one of the most recommended and most sought after program, and it's usually for free because it's open source and it's Linux based. So all you need to do is go to their website, pop in a CD and burn it, or see if you can put it onto a thumb drive and use it as a disk device. But once you run programs such as DBAN and the like, it's going to clear out all the data and write a bunch of zeros on a hard drive, basically wiping the data that's already on there and replacing it with data such as zeros, which means you're going to have a blank brick hard drive, which is still reusable unless the hard drive is totally out to lunch. Then you got another problem. And that's another thing too, when you have hardware issues regarding to your hard drive, meaning you hear a clicking sound if it's a mechanical drive, or if the flash drive decides not to read anymore, then you have problems. Then you have to send it to a recovery site, and it's going to charge you anywhere between a few $100s to several $1,000, depending on how large or small your hard drive is, in some way to back it up and put it onto another medium, either another hard drive or a bunch of DVDs or in the cloud, for a substantial price. And that's something to think about, folks, when you deciding to get rid of a computer. You shouldn't just throw it out or give it to a friend without safeguarding your data, because like I said, in those videos I did, I showed you how very easy it was for me to gain access to that computer and basically look through their personal information. These were neighbors up the street. They didn't know any better. They figure, oh well, who knows about computers? But that's not the point. Anybody could have been driving by, saw it on the curb, and picked it up and took it home with them. And said, oh geez, wow. So that's all I have to say at this point regarding the importance of wiping your hard drive. I've been on this topic long enough, so I'm going to cut this video short. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, just leave it in the comment section, rate and subscribe. Until then, like I said, safeguard your data, and most of all, be safe and take care. Peace.